Welcome.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome to our first live stream, the first live podcast that I've ever done. I'm so excited that you agreed to come on with me, give this a try. It's like trial and error, and we're going to get through this together.
No, it's going to be great. I'm so excited. I love watching live podcasts and live videos and stuff, so I feel like this is fun. I'm excited about it.
Me too. And I'm like, this gives me an opportunity to step up my hosting games and really bring my A game. So
True. Add it to the resume.
like, okay, Andy, watch your back because I'm coming for you. Just kidding.
Literally.
No,
Don't we
literally
all want
though.
that job? Oh my gosh.
So I'm super excited. I love the Circle too. You're a Circle super fan,
Mhm.
but season 6 was actually one of my favorite seasons,
Yay.
mainly because of you, mainly because
Aw,
of you. So let me give you your props.
thank you.
It was so strategic. It was so fun to watch, and I feel like I speak for a lot of people when I say that you stole our hearts with your fun personality, your
Aw.
strategy, your showmance, like everything about you was captivating. So, again, thank you for being here today.
Of course. I'm so excited. Thank you for all your kind words. It's so sweet. You were one of the people that I feel like were rooting for me the whole time, which I appreciate it. There were some people that were rooting for me, and then once that thing happened where I put Miles third, they're like, okay, never mind. We don't really like QT anymore. But you stuck with me, and I appreciate that.
I will always stick with you because here's the thing. I was like, yeah, of course she has to put Miles below her. Like, if you
Yeah.
want to win, like, I mean, you can't put yourself first, right? In the ratings, they don't let you do that.
No, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. So if I
I
want you to
think
win, he'll be okay. And I like that
yeah.
you told him to. You're like, sorry, don't hate me, but you're third.
I apologize to him like every single day about that still.
It kind of reminds me of when you check your friends' MySpace pages back in the day and you like catch that you're not their top friend. You're like, what the like
Yeah. No,
what?
wait, that's actually so true. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that time in my life.
Yeah, and it's like very like, are you kidding me? Bethany's number one? Like, bye.
Yeah. How?
How? Okay, so really quick plug, everybody listening, don't forget to follow Corey Tyler on Instagram. You can follow her at Corey Tyler. Will you spell it out for everyone? Tell them how to get there.
Yeah, so it's at Quori Tyler, QUORITYLER, and that's on everything: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the things.
Perfect. Follow her everywhere, say hello, give her her flowers. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some really great questions planned for today. I'm gonna quickly look and see if our live is like working. Oh
Okay.
wait, you know what? Okay, it is.
Okay.
Okay,
Wait,
it's
I
a,
want to try to pull it up too, so
me
I can.
too. I want to at least pull it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I do this? Okay.
Okay.
So,
Technology.
OMG, so stoked for this chat. Hi Tomaslian. I'm glad you're in here. Okay. My friend Toma is here. Love. Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's so trippy seeing myself on here as I'm doing it in real time.
Okay, good. I found it as well.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So we can actively keep up with the chat, I think.
Yay.
Okay, perfect. Oh my God, it is trippy. I'm not going to look over there at all.
No.
That was a mind fuck. Okay. Oh wait, can I swear on YouTube? Does anybody know? We'll
Go
find
for
out.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll find out.
like you'll be okay.
Okay, so as you mentioned, we really haven't got to know much of you. So I want to get to know you, and I have some questions planned.
Okay.
So we know that you danced for the LA Lakers and the LA Rams. And
Yep.
this was interesting to me because I actually had to do a Google search for someone who's not familiar with like competitive cheerleading and dancing.
Mhm.
It's still called dancing when you're on the cheer squad, correct?
Yes, no, it's so nice that you are pointing that out. Because a lot of people think like, oh my gosh, you're a cheerleader doing stunts and flips and all this stuff. But no, it's all dancing. But for NFL specifically, it's called NFL cheerleading because we have pom poms. But we're literally just dancing with pom poms in our hands. So yeah, I grew up dancing competitively my whole life. And then went into it professionally with the Rams for 3 years and then Lakers for 2 years. But yeah, all dancing, which I love dancing. I miss it.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying because I was like kind of like self-conscious asking that, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, I swear it's like I was reading. I was like, okay, so it's dancing, even
Yeah.
though, so yes, okay, I'm glad we got to talk about that.
Yes.
And I want to go into, there was a lot of questions about your experience with the NBA, with the NFL teams.
Yeah.
So, first of all, viewers wanted to know what made you join. So, what made you join these competitive teams?
So like I said, I grew up dancing ever since I was, I think, like 4 years old. Was always in dance classes, and then I started competing in dance. So when you do competitive dancing, you're basically training every single day, Monday through Friday after school. I would go to the studio and we'd just be training. And then on the weekends, you have competitions. So it was just always in my life, dance. And I guess I got pretty good at it. Then I moved to, that was when I was in New York. Then I moved to California and I went to Cal State Long Beach and I was on the dance team there, and they have a really great dance team, and I continued to compete with them. And then my sophomore year, everyone just started talking. I always knew I wanted to try out for like a professional team. Me and my mom used to watch the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader show. We were so obsessed, and I used to always tell her like, I'm going to be on the NFL team for you, like I'm going to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. So when I got to LA, I was like, okay, I do want to ultimately try to get on a team, but I didn't think it was going to happen so soon. So I was still in college my sophomore year, and I just on a whim went to the Rams auditions just to kind of get my feet wet and see like what a professional dance team audition is like, not thinking that I would make it. And then the process is so long. There's about like 400 people that come out to compete for a spot on a team that ends up being about 30, like 25 to 30 girls. So yeah, I did the whole process. I was there for a week and I kept making it through round after round. I was shocked. And then I ended up making the team, which was wild. I was one of the youngest people on the team. I was 19. Everyone else was like way well into their 20s. Yeah, it was wild. So that was really an exciting time of my life. So I was in college at the same time of being a professional dancer. And then I did that for 3 seasons. I went to the Super Bowl with the Rams, which is like top two moments of my whole entire life. So incredible. We didn't win that Super Bowl, but I did go, so I can say that. And then I took a year off because of COVID, and then I was like, okay, I want to keep dancing, but I wanted to switch from NFL to NBA. So then I tried out for Lakers and made that, and then yeah, the rest is history. So, and then actually, so I did 2 years with Lakers, and then I was about to go into my third year, and then I was going into the Circle, and I couldn't do both. So I ended up not going back to Lakers and doing the Circle instead. So yeah.
OMG. Okay, there's so many things that I have to hit on.
Yeah.
First of all, Dallas Cowboys fan here as well. Okay. I
Iconic.
iconic. And like not gonna lie, we're millennials. We grew up in the like stage where people they used to like publish pictures of Jessica Simpson and call her like fat or whatever. I remember watching the Dallas Cowboys and being like, "Oh my," like cuz they would say like you're too big and it would be like someone who was like I was like 10 and I think I was like bigger than some of them. I was like,
No, it's
"Hmm."
actually kind of toxic when you go. It's like America's Next Top Model too. Like when you go back and watch some of those things, it's like, how is this even allowed to be on TV? It's wild.
No, and so I want to know, in comparison to how we saw the
Mhm.
tryouts on Dallas Cowboys, what was it like? Is it as cutthroat?
Definitely, yeah. The tryouts are definitely as cut through. I think it's a little bit maybe more tame. Like they do a lot. I don't know if I mean I was never part of Dallas, so I don't know specifically what they actually do, but I think they did a lot for like the TV aspect of it all, of like amping things up. But it's competitive in the sense of like you really are competing next to all of these beautiful women that are like some of the best dancers from whatever teams they're coming from. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, you're going through so many. I don't think so. Like a lot of the body stuff, I feel like that's not happening anymore really on these teams. A lot, at
Okay,
least not in my
good.
experience, which is great. But there's still that aspect of like you're seeing these girls that are like super small or super good and flexible and things like that, and so you're always comparing yourself to them. I feel. But yeah, it's a crazy competitive world. But there's like something about it that I thrive off of. Like it's the most nerve wracking thing of my life. But anytime I'm going into an audition, it's like the best time of my life because I feel like I can really like prove myself in some way. But yeah, everything that they show for the most part is exactly what an actual audition is like.
And so you're competitive by nature then. Like you love to compete. What's your sign, astrological?
I'm a Leo. I'm actually, so I don't know much about signs and stuff, but I know that my like rising moon, all that stuff, it's Leo, Leo, Leo. So I'm like full through Leo. Yeah.
I love that for you. So I don't know that much either, so you won't catch me asking you too much
Okay.
more like Steffi. Like I'm not a know-it-all. Like start glitching and it's like just kidding, it's Steffi, just kidding.
Literally
Um
triggered back to my time fighting the AI.
no, literally I don't blame you. But okay, I love Leos. Like I'm actually very drawn to Leos. I have a lot of Leo friends. My partner's a Leo, so that
What's your
tracks.
sign?
I'm an Aquarius.
Ooh, I feel like I don't know many Aquarius. like, when's your birthday? What month is that?
So I'm February 9th, and it's
Oh,
like, I feel like either like first of the month Aquariuses or like late Aquariuses are like kind of chaotic. So
yeah.
I ride like right in the early stage, and
Okay.
like I guess I'm like projecting my cool self onto it, but I feel like the early month Aquariuses are cool.
Yeah. No,
Wait, are you a
I mean,
July Leo or
no,
August?
I'm in August, August 2nd.
Okay, I
Yeah.
love August Leos. Okay, so we talked about cheerleading. You're a competitor. So since you cheered for two LA teams, is it safe to say, like, did you grow up in Los Angeles? Is that where you're from?
No, I'm from New York originally, like born and raised in New York. I moved to California when I was 17. Me, my mom, and my sister moved over here. So now it's been like almost 10 years now. So I feel like I'm an LA native, but I'm not. I'm from New York. So I have that like New York, I think that like go getter. And maybe that's where my competitive side comes from too, because I'm like a hustler and all that stuff. But I'm also very laid back and chill. So that's why I think I thrive in California. It's like I have the mindset of a New Yorker, but I'm laid back like a Californian or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, I've been here for about 10 years now in LA, and
Okay.
that's why I've been on all these LA teams. Sometimes I think about going back to New York to do like Knicks dancing or something, like to end out my career, just to bring it like very full circle. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's so interesting because we actually just had a question in the chat saying, would you ever consider going back to professional dancing?
Ooh.
So, like, would you do that? And for the Knicks then? Question mark.
Yeah, I would think about it for sure. I'm like in the time of my life where I'm like, I need to do everything that I can while I'm young, especially with dancing, because you can only dance for so long, like until my body gives out, basically. So I don't want to be done with it yet, but I'm just trying to figure out like where in my life I want to go. Also, NBA is so hard because there's like 44 home games in a season and you're dancing at all of them and then practices and events. So you're doing a lot. NFL, I think I would lean more towards doing again because there's only 10 home games in a season. So it's a lot less strenuous on your schedule. So maybe I would lean towards doing that, but I just don't know like for what team or where or when. But I definitely want to keep dancing. So you might see me on the court or the field again.
Love, love. Selfishly, I'd like to see you for the Brooklyn Nets because also I love that team name. I think it's so cute, the Brooklyn
So
Nets.
good. And I was born in Brooklyn. So those are
Bang.
my roots. Yeah.
Okay, love that. Um, I had a thought that popped in my head, and I'm so sorry, but it came and it went. So I hope that it comes back to me. But until then, I'm gonna branch. Oh no, I remember. So speaking of the men, like, are they nicer? Let's talk tea. Like, are they nicer on the NFL team, NBA team? Like, how much time do you spend with the athletes?
That's a good question. Not too much time. I mean, you do like events and stuff with them. So actually, in our contracts for NFL and NBA, it says that you cannot fraternize with the players. So you're not allowed to like hang out with them outside of work things or games or events. But you are doing like some events with them. I mean, like for NBA, we're in the tunnel with them before we go out for the game. So you do kind of get to see them and stuff. I think that honestly, I kind of feel like the NBA players were maybe a little nicer. I mean, NFL too, but I think that we just had more chances to like converse with the NBA players, so maybe that's why I feel like that. NFL is very separate, and when you see them at the games, they're in like full helmets and suits and everything, so you're not really getting that like connection, I guess, with them. But yeah, NBA players are pretty nice, but I mean, they all were pretty good to us. I feel like for the most part.
I wonder how hard that is for both parties to know that you cannot associate with one another. Like, what if you're DMing someone and then you join the team?
I know that is kind of. I mean, that's what happened with Gronk and I forgot her
Camilla?
name. Yeah, she was on the team, and then I don't know. She says that there was nothing going on with them when they were on the team. It wasn't until she was off. But my theory is that they probably like started talking or flirting a
Hmm.
little bit while she was on the team, and then she was like, "Okay, I'm not going to go back next year." And then they actually started like publicly dating. But yeah, that's what happened with her. So I don't know. It definitely could happen. It did not happen with me, unfortunately. So
I love the cheerleading tea. Thank you for that. That's
yeah,
huge. That is so huge to me.
yeah.
Okay, so transitioning a little and staying on the topic of you before we get into the show. So, from watching your vlogs on TikTok from and YouTube, both of them I watched, I know that you love books, and I want to know what books did you bring into the circle if you brought any?
So this is the thing. I brought so many books to read in the circle because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get all my reading done. It's gonna be great. Then I get there, and so before you go into the apartment, they do like a bag check and take out anything, like any clothes that you have that have logos or like any kind of branding on them. And what I didn't know is they also take any books that you have that have like beautiful covers. And the books that I like are the ones with the beautiful covers. So they took every single book that I brought. But I will tell you the ones I brought were Once Upon a Broken Heart, The 7-Year Slip. I have to remember the other two, but there was like 4 books that I brought that I was like, I can't wait to go in there and read these books, but then I ended up not being able to.
I cannot believe that they take books with a pretty cover.
Yes. And so what I'm mad about is that later on I realized that I could have covered the book covers and then they would have let me bring them in. But I didn't know that at the time. So I just have like all these books there and they're just taking them away one by one. And
Yeah.
what was so sad is that the girl that was checking my bags, as she's looking at the book, she's like, "Ooh, this is a really good one." And I'm like, I can't even read it now because you're taking it away from me. It was like rubbing it in so much. It sucked. But yeah, so I didn't get to read anything. But then I kept asking. They said that they had books that they could bring to us. So then I was asking for books, and then they brought me one, and it was like a book from the 1920s about like an island that I've never heard of. Like, I don't know, just not the book vibes that I was going for. So I ended up not reading it. I think Miles had a book in there. I see him reading on some of the episodes. I don't know if it was one of the ones he brought or they brought it to him, but some people were able to read certain things or bring in books that had like plain covers. But yeah, none of mine got approved.
Let me make a note that if by chance I ever go on the circle to have the ugliest book covers, like I'll cover them.
Yes. Or what I was saying is next time I go on the circle, because I want to be on the circle again, next time I go, I'm going to bring a bunch of hardcover books. And you know how you can take the sleeve off and then it's just like a plain cover? I'm just going
Absolutely.
to bring a bunch of hardcover books and then they'll have to let me bring them in. So that's my plan. So anyone that's planning to go on the circle and wants to bring books, just remember, bring plain covers.
I need to know, do you think that the idea behind that is to have as little sensory stimulation as possible? Like, do they want you all bored or what?
I don't know. They were telling us like bring as much as you can of things that you want to do. Like I saw Lauren brought like her crochet stuff. I
Mhm.
brought like coloring books, Sudoku. We had puzzles. So I don't think it's that. I really think it's just like the copyright of it all. Like they can't have the branding. And like the artist, whoever created the artwork for the cover, probably had to approve it. So I understand from like a legal perspective, but still sucked.
Still sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about your family. I want to know, do you have so you did say siblings. You said, okay, so are you the oldest, youngest?
I'm the middle. So I have an older sister that's 11 years older than me, and then a younger sister that's 9 years younger than me. So we're all pretty spread apart, but pretty close. And yeah, I've been the middle child, but I don't feel like I have middle child syndrome. Like I don't feel like I'm the forgotten child at all. So that's good. But yeah, 2 sisters, and then my mom. I love her so much. We're all girls in the house.
I love that so much. And I love that so I have an age gap with my sisters as well and my brother. And I kind of love it because we all had like our separate identities. You know what I mean? Like we all got that focus.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel like we were able to like help, like my older sister was able to help me like while I was growing up, and then I'm able to be that for my younger sister. So it's more of like I don't know, we have like a stronger bond, I feel like, because of that, and we're not fighting over like boys or what clothes we're wearing or being in the same school and being embarrassed by each other. Like we never had any of that, so that's nice.
And I love that it's a matriarchy. I'm obsessed.
No, literally all girls. I'm surrounded by girls all the time. I
Love
love
it.
it though.
Love it. So what was their reaction to you first saying you're going on the circle and then to actually watching you?
So, me and my mom love all of these shows. We're huge strategy, social strategy, game show people. We watch live feeds of Big Brother all the time. Like, we're into it all. So, she was so excited. She was with me through every single step of the process. So she knew everything as it was happening. And anytime I would get an email saying, like, in the casting process, like, you're on to the next step, we'd be so excited. So she was just so happy for me. And then actually watching it, I know, so when I was gone filming, I was gone for like 3 weeks. And so I know that just the whole time she was probably wondering what was happening or freaking out. And then when I got back, I told her every little detail of it because, like I said, we love these things. And then watching it has just been so surreal. Like, I don't know, it's crazy to actually see me on a show that we love to watch so much. And then my little sister, she like could not care less, honestly. I was like, this is gonna make me so cool to her. She's gonna tell all her friends. Like, I don't even think she's told one person that I was even on the show. Like, she could not care
She's like,
what.
ew, it's a millennial show anyways. Like, get out of here.
Yes.
I'm dead.
I know, and she's an actress. Like she does like the plays in her school. She's done some commercials and stuff. So she's like, I can't be associated with reality TV. Meanwhile, me, I'm like, get me on any single show. I want to be a housewife. I want to be on summer. Like, get me on anything.
I love it. Okay, so she's acting. She's trying to do like the theater thing and
Yeah.
go, okay, I get it. And you're open to the challenges. You like to compete clearly because of your competitive cheerleading, dancing, all of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to jump over to our live just really quick. I want to see, I'm going to edit our title just so people know I'm talking with you, just because I
Okay.
think I just have it as something random. And I hope that that helps people find it. Okay, so someone did, there is a comment about the books being taken away, which I love. It says, that's blasphemous. I'd be so sad if they took my books. And I felt the same way. That would
No,
be the
that's how
saddest part.
I thought it was, and it was literally right before, like 5 minutes before I was actually going into the apartment. And so I'm feeling like all these emotions and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're taking my books, which are like my comfort. Uh, the worst.
So what would so you're in LA and then we get told that this season they're in Georgia.
Yeah.
Just like some behind the scenes stuff, what did you think about being there? Like what did you because don't they didn't they typically film in the UK? Like what were you thinking?
So it was usually filmed in Manchester, and I knew that. So when I first got the call and I was going through the casting, I was like, "Ooh, they're gonna fly me out to the UK. I'm so excited!" And then they were like, "Actually, we're gonna do it in Atlanta." And I was like, "Oh gosh, we're staying in America. Like, I wanted a nice trip." But no, it was nice being in Atlanta because I don't know. There's some like comfortability to it. So even
Hmm.
though I was out of my home, I still didn't feel like too much like out of my control because I'm very much a person that likes to have everything in my control. So I could see if I was in like a foreign place, maybe it flustering me a little bit more. So that was nice. And the apartment was beautiful. It was so much bigger than what I've seen on the UK show. So that was nice. And I liked that it was like a fresh feel. Like everything was just kind of new going into it. And it seemed like they were very excited about the production of it all and it being in Atlanta, being an American thing now. So yeah, I was excited. Once I got there, I was like, okay, they're really like putting their all into this. So I was excited to be a part of this like new wave or this new. I feel like we're kind of going into like a new circle US kind of like even with the way the game is played and it being in a new place, the apartments being new, like everything just kind of felt fresh. So I was excited about it.
I definitely want to touch on that later because it did feel like this season we're starting like a new wave of the circle.
Yeah.
But quickly, I remember hearing from like a season one contestant that there was like 500 cast and crew members like taking care of and monitoring the eight cast members.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Is there that many people there?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but there definitely is a lot of people there. Like even in when we're in sequester in the hotel before going into the actual circle, um, there's people like around the clock because obviously you can't just be roaming free wherever you want because then you can run into someone else that could be on the show and you don't they don't want us to see each other. So there would be people constantly bringing us food if we ever needed like any medicine or if I wanted a coffee I can call and they would bring it to us. And it was always a different person coming to me, so that's how I knew like there's a lot of people working behind the scenes of this just to like make sure we're all okay, which I appreciate it because I mean, you're in this like foreign place, you have no phone, you have no like connection to the outside world. So it did feel like I did feel safe in the sense that there was always someone that was there to get something for me if I needed it.
And that brings up a good question too, because you kind of bring up like medicine, food. I've always wondered in terms of if something were to happen to someone, like I don't even know, like you're cutting your food and you like cut your finger, like how quick are they getting in there? Like what happens?
So
Do
there's
you
people
know?
all around. So I'm sure they would come in quick. I mean, even like with Miles with the fire thing, like someone came into his apartment really quick. I mean, they don't show it. They show the little part of like the fire happening. But then right after that happened, apparently someone went straight into his room. So there's people like on guard all over the apartment building. So yeah, there's always someone there, I feel like, to come in quickly if we ever needed it. But other than that, you are in there like completely by yourself, which is wild.
Do you ever feel intimidated by the surveillance aspect?
Not really. I kind of enjoyed it because I love Big Brother live feeds so much that I felt
Love.
like I was in the Big Brother live feeds. I wish Circle had live feeds because I was like, oh my
Me
gosh, I could
too.
talk to the camera right now and then people would be listening. So I felt like I was living my Big Brother dream, honestly. I did not mind it at all. I was obsessed. I mean, even this is so cringy of me, but even before going in, because I love Big Brother so much, sometimes I would be home alone sometimes and pretend that there was like live feeds happening and I was actually being watched by a bunch of people. So I've always just like lived, I felt like I got to live out this dream of mine. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, honestly.
That's really cute. That's not
Yeah.
cringy. I actually
Yeah.
really enjoy that. I'm glad that you shared that. That's
But then,
very relatable to like,
yeah,
and that, yeah, you're the star of the show. I very frequently
exactly.
pretend that I am Michael Scott, and it's very much like when something happens, like I
Yeah,
look at the
look at the
camera and I'm like, did
camera.
you just see that? Like, did you not see that? Okay.
No, exactly. We're all the main characters of our lives, and you have to live life like that, you know?
So true. I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm not going to spiral us, but I do want to say it was very like maybe I just like smoked a little too much, who knows? But I was realizing the fact that like once we are not alive,
Hmm.
it like if you didn't make yourself a main character, it does like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah,
nothing else is happening anyways. Like your world essentially is over. Like the world's not over, but
right.
yours is. So you might as well be the
That's
main
true.
character.
No, that's very like meta, and I need to live by that.
When it came to me, I was like a couple puffs in. I was like, this is huge. Like I'm
You
telling you,
should
this
write a
is
book about it,
right.
honestly.
Really, truly though. Okay, so I want to go back to you being a super fan because prior to your season, first of all, I want to know who you thought was the most strategic player, and I want to know your favorite season.
Ooh, my favorite season is season 5, and I don't know why. It's just, I think there's like a comfort to it for me for some reason. First of all, my favorite person to ever be on the circle is Chaz. I am so
Love.
obsessed with him. There's like no one I've loved more watching on the show. So I think because of that, maybe season 5 is my favorite because I just love watching him and Sam and Raven. Like, I feel like they had good characters, but it's season 5's not my favorite because of like the strategy or gameplay necessarily. It's just the one that like I love to watch the most. Most strategic player. Do you know who's a super strategic player that I feel like doesn't get enough credit? Alyssa from season, is it
Hmm.
4 maybe?
With
Um,
John,
with
with Mama
John.
Carol,
Yeah.
yes.
She was the one like taking so many notes and doing little things. Like I feel like she played a very strategic game, which I liked. But I feel like there hasn't really been anyone on the circle that played like fully strategic the whole time. There's been some people that come in maybe later on, like an Alex or something like that. But I don't know. There was no one that I felt like, oh, this person played completely strategically the whole time and like deserved to win from a game standpoint. So I don't know.
I completely agree with that. I also loved Chaz. I love season 5. That was another favorite. Wasn't his name? It was something funny. Like it was like
Shampoo Poppy.
I yes. I was like it's not champagne poppy. It was like a pun on that.
Yeah, it was Shampoo Poppy because he does like car washing, so it's like
Yes.
shampoo. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love all the names: Shampoo Poppy, Young Poppy Fuego. Yeah,
Oh my God, I love how you guys brought that back around. So next
I
season
know.
there has to be something poppy at some
I know.
point.
People have to continue on the trend.
The legacy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with you prior. I don't really think there's that many like strategy focused players.
Yeah.
So you went into the circle single and there's obviously some advantages and we saw Kyle, pretend to be single as
Yeah.
well. There's some advantages to being single and I wanted to know, do you think it's easier to win the circle if you're single, if you're in a relationship? Like what's your thoughts?
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like now I want to go back and see like how many people were single versus married or said
Me
they were single
too.
at
I
that
need a data
point.
point.
Yeah. I think it could be easier single. I don't know though. I actually like once I got in there, I feel like I realized that I think for me, obviously being single definitely helped because then the flirting with Mile and then he was able to protect me and all that stuff. But I also think that my relationship to Kyle, I really enjoyed because there was no flirting there and it was very just like brother sister. And I think that if you go into the circle as someone who already has a partner outside of it, that it might be easier to connect with people like besides the flirting, because sometimes I feel like the flirting can kind of get in the way of the gameplay. And that's why I was very careful that with Miles, like I did want to flirt a little bit, but I didn't want any of our conversations to be solely just like, oh my gosh, you're so cute, oh my gosh, you're so cute, oh my gosh, let's go on a date. Like I wanted to get to the gameplay too, because I think in seasons past sometimes you see full on conversations that are just flirting the whole time, and then people just get caught up in that, and then they have no strategy or gameplay of how to get each other to the end, basically. So I think there could be actually more of an advantage maybe to go in as taken, married, or in a relationship, and then just form genuine connections with people that does not revolve around liking the person.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point because I did hear you say in a prior interview that it did get old after a while, the
Yeah.
constant referencing to your relationship. And I'm gonna get into that in a second because I have a couple notes. So just know, like, I'm gonna come back to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Um, I definitely agree with you though. I do think that there's more of an opportunity to like get to know people and like maybe not be worried about like romantically or next or is this a catfish or is this a legit.
Exactly. Yeah, because that can get in your head too. Is like if you're flirting with someone and then maybe you really do start to develop feelings, then what if they're a catfish and then you're starting to think about that too much, which is what happened to me, and that can like trip you up. So, yeah, I think there's some advantage. I don't know. I can't tell right now if I would say that there's more of an advantage of being single or being in a relationship going into the circle, but for some reason I feel like having a relationship already might help you a little bit more than you would think it would. You know, you can use it to your advantage.
I agree. I agree with that. So if Miles wasn't there, because he was basically like your number one. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like Kyle too, because like you guys did have like the Tres Fuegos alliance.
Yeah.
But if Miles wasn't there, who do you think your number one would have been with the
Mhm.
cast?
I think, yeah, I think me and Kyle still probably would have been number one, but then I feel like the three of us together really solidified that. So without Miles there, I don't know. I do think that though me and Kyle were very close without Miles, so I think that would have remained, but maybe Kyle would have gotten closer to like an Olivia or something if we didn't have a Trace Fuego thing. So I want to say Kyle still, but I think that maybe I would have gotten a little bit closer with Olivia and tried to have more of a relationship with her. But at the time, I didn't need it so much because I had Trace Fuego. But yeah, I think that maybe I would have tried to get even closer with Olivia because I did feel a strong connection to Olivia, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be best friends out of it. Like, I felt like we were very similar. So I think I would have tried to connect maybe a little bit more with her if Miles wasn't there.
Okay, that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
T. So now I want to get into Miles because
Okay.
that's on everyone's mind. Everyone wants to know it. It's a burning question. So like we're gonna get into it earlier rather than sitting in anticipation.
Okay.
So like we were just saying, I heard you reference in a prior interview. It did get kind of old,
Yeah.
and I wanted to hear more about that and specifically did it get old to you because it's adding this extra layer of pressure, or is it because it takes away from the gameplay, or does it just not let you fly under the radar? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's a combination, honestly, of all those things. Like you put it perfectly. I feel like number one, it was, yeah, a lot of pressure and a lot of, I'm a very like slow burn kind of person, like in normal dating life. I don't rush into things very fast. I'm not like, I don't know, I feel like I don't give too much away of how I feel about a person. And because of the situation that we were in, it's like you only have so many conversations. So you do want to get as much as you can out there and let the person know how you're feeling. So I don't know, there was a little bit of that. And then it was a lot of pressure, or not even pressure, but just it started to get annoying with like the group things when everyone was always talking about me and Miles, or every question was about like me and Miles, the Cassie picture with the lovesick thing, and then Paul saying something about, oh, Miles actually has a girlfriend back. Like it was just everything started to become about our relationship, and it was annoying because especially towards the middle, once I became influencer that first time, my strategy or my plan was to try to fall under the radar into the middle, but I felt like that kept being a topic of conversation that kept bringing my name up even when I didn't want it to. So yeah, that was annoying because I wanted to try to kind of like stop people from talking about me as much, but I felt like it just was not stopping. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It didn't get annoying. Like I was never annoyed by him or the
Right,
connection that
right.
we had. But yeah, just the fact that like it was just becoming the center of attention for everything all the time.
And from a reflection standpoint, as you're talking, it occurs to me just now as well that it's a little bit dismissive to bring it up so consistently. And only because, there is like this idea of like, oh, like, Miles boost QT game. But like, no, like you boosted your game. And by talking consistently about your alliances, it really doesn't give you the recognition for being as strategic as you were, seeking out these alliances and these relationships for a reason. It didn't
Right.
just like fall in your lap like, oh, everyone's obsessed with me. Like I was nice and this was the, you know what I mean? Like this was the reception. So I feel like it kind of takes away from you a little bit too when you deserve full props for your own success in the
Thank
show.
you. No, thank you. That means so much to me because, yeah, even the conversation around it, like from the outside now, viewers watching it and stuff, and everyone feeling like, I don't know, like I do feel like, well, even in the game, people, I think now in watching it, I see what they were saying, like in their apartments behind the scenes. I think a lot of people, Jordan, Olivia, like a lot of people were feeling like Miles was the one running the game and I was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like his sidekick or like the piece that he had. But I was controlling a lot of what was happening and I was like the major strategic one. But I also have to put my pride aside with that because I do think that that's what helped keep my target down, even though I was becoming influencer a lot, because people had that perception of Miles being the one to do it all. It kind of allowed me to keep going. It let Olivia keep me in the game and get rid of Miles instead of me. It made Jordan target Miles and get everyone to start looking at him. So in a sense, it did help me. But then like my pride, I'm like, yeah, but I was doing it all, and I wish that everyone recognized that and saw it. But that could have gotten me out. So I think it happened. It all worked out the way it needed to. But yeah, you're right. Like I feel like I want the conversation around it more to be about my gameplay and not just like, oh, her and Miles did everything together. Like, no, I did a lot of this stuff and I was the one keeping him safe most of the time, you know? So, yeah.
And it's important to recognize there is very much this normal sense of giving accolades to men for doing the same thing that women are already doing. And it's like, of course, people would think that Miles is running the show. Even Jordan. Jordan's so obsessed with Miles. And I mean, he did like target you, which annoyed me anyways, because I'm just like, I don't know, it just annoyed me.
Yeah.
But he did consider you a threat, definitely, because he
Yeah.
came for you. But yeah, in regards to the other players, I wish there was just more recognition. But we live in this very like heteronormative world where we do give praise to men for like, you know, existing and
Yeah.
breathing.
Yeah, literally. And
So,
not to take away from any
no, of course not.
what I didn't realize too, when I was playing the game with him, I thought he was playing strictly emotionally and like he really was just this lovesick puppy that was just trying to flirt with me. And now in watching it, I'm like, oh, he had some strategic moves and he knew how to navigate the game in more of a strategic way than I even realized. But still, like it wasn't just all him, you know, like we made moves together and I made moves separately from him. So yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to go through your honest reaction because viewers are split. Okay, the day that you and Miles meet, okay, half the viewers are like, oh, she's into it. Half the viewers are like, he tried to kiss her. She was not into it.
Yeah.
She gave him the like stiff arm or whatever that's called, the clothesline or
Right.
something. So how did you actually feel? What was that like?
Okay, so a mix of both, honestly. So
Okay.
when he first comes into my apartment, and the first thing he says to me is, "You look like someone I'd want to kiss." Cringe, immediately cringe, hate it, absolutely no, not gonna happen. And then because of that, I feel like it led to me the whole time being very awkward because in my head the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, he wants to have this Joey Miranda moment of season 1 where they kiss and make out on the couch, and I was like, it's just not happening with me. So I felt like my body language was a little bit more closed off because I didn't want to give him the idea that he could lean in for the kiss. So the whole time I'm just staring at the TV and like, I mean, I already love talking about the game and strategy. And finally, I have someone to talk to about it with. So I kept trying to get back to the strategy and talk about all this stuff, but he was not trying to. He was trying to talk
No.
about our dates and stuff. So I don't know. It was just, I mean, it's awkward meeting someone. The
Awkward.
cameras are on us. Everyone's watching. You know, this is about to be for millions of people to watch. Like, everything about it was awkward. I think I'm a very awkward person, which I don't think people are realizing. Like, I'm just really weird and awkward. I also don't even date that much. So, like being around someone that you like is just weird, and I don't know. Yeah, so my body language was definitely off, and it was because I was closed off to kissing him, and because he led with that, it made me just closed off the whole time. And I was like, we need to just like end this part of it and then get to know each other like personally and privately. So yeah, I was closed off in that sense, but not closed off to him. It wasn't because I was like, oh, I actually don't like this person. It was just in that situation.
Okay, like typically if a guy came on to you so strong, would you have like ghosted or would you have been in are you warm to the reception of like sending the breakfast? Like which would be the equivalent of I don't know, a guy like sending flowers to you because he's
Oh my gosh, no.
you're
Yeah,
you like it.
I love it. I
Okay,
think it's
good.
great. Like, yeah, I want someone that's going to be completely obsessed with me and do all of the things and show me all of the love and all that
Okay.
stuff. So no, I love all of that 100%. But yeah, I'm just a little bit more like closed off and awkward, and it takes me a second to warm up to people,
I get
especially
that.
in person for the first time. So yeah, but no, I loved it all. The breakfast in bed. Oh my gosh, my like favorite thing that happened on the show.
And I was really happy to see Miles like obsessed with you and like give you your rightful props because there was like this whole thing of like Olivia and like Cassie and like the blondes and like the
Yeah.
Miles and like we're blondes like and I'm like if Miles likes Olivia, like I
Yeah.
riot tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and of
Yeah.
course I love Olivia, I love Brandon, but I just
Right.
meant like, like I don't want to see it. So when he was like, "Oh, QT," and I was like,
Oh
"Yeah!"
my gosh.
Like I was just happy.
Yeah, no, I was so happy too. I was shocked. I did not, in that rap thing, did not think he was going to write about me, and then did not think he was going to be flirting with me. Like, I had no inclination that he actually liked me or wanted to flirt with me or anything. So, yeah, that was nice. It was very sweet.
So, fast forwarding now, it's been a year, and I imagine it has to be at least like a little bit, if not awkward, like
Mhm.
maybe just odd to see the viewers, like all of us react, eat this up, like tag you guys, and like you've already gone on a couple dates. Like, I listened to your podcast, your schedules didn't line up for a while.
Yeah.
So, you guys are kind of now like rekindling things. Like, how are you processing that level of pressure? And like, how do you feel?
So yeah, that's kind of been the hardest thing of like now we're such in the public eye, and I think we both really like to create content and we like making videos together and stuff, but then it's also like we also want to keep things private for ourselves because we are trying to navigate whatever this is and go on dates without posting about it so that it's not just all for like the views and stuff. But then it's also like, but we do like hanging out together and posting things. So I don't know, trying to find that balance has been interesting. And then yeah, when we first came out, we went on a few dates and then things just like didn't line up really. And then recently, like a little bit before the show came out, we started like going out again and talking and all of that stuff. But it has been weird because I mean, the so many of the viewers, I mean, everyone loves Miles. Like he's a fan favorite of the whole show. But so many of the viewers love us together. And
Mhm.
like, yeah, like you said, everyone's tagging us and stuff and making these cute edits of us and everything. But I don't know, it's hard. And I never thought that I would be in some relationship that's in like the public eye. And I know that from what other people have said about it, it's hard sometimes dating publicly because there's so many opinions and so many like even the thing about how my body language was towards him
Yes.
when we first met, and then that can make him feel like, oh, maybe this girl doesn't actually like me because of what people are saying. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to navigate, but we're doing it together, just trying to figure it out, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, I obviously don't speak for everyone and I'm one voice, but I hope that you know that like don't put pressure on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
like it's obviously easier said than done, but
Yeah.
like no one has the right to put pressure on the relationship to make you feel like all of your body language and pictures of you and like intimate moments of you guys like out on a date are like open to the public eye. So I hope that you're able to like move through this and reserve your autonomy if you
Mhm.
don't like are can I ask if you guys are still open to dating other people? Like I would imagine other Netflix people are DMing you like, hey, like you're hot. Like, I don't know. Like, are you allowed, like, are you replying back? Like, what's the sitch?
Yeah, me and Miles like not exclusive in any way. Like
Okay.
I said, we're just like figuring it out and dating how you would date if you like met someone on Tinder and like you're
Yes.
not just like completely only with them. So, yeah, there's that. But then also it's like me and him post together all the time and like post flirty things or flirty comments. So I feel like other people might see that and feel like we're in a relationship. So honestly, my DMs have been maybe a little more
Try.
dry than you expect.
She's still open, everybody. Okay. So, like, shoot
No,
your
literally.
shot. No,
Yeah.
literally.
Slide into those DMs. You might
Yes.
be, I don't know. I'm trying to like be flattered by someone. No, but Miles does flatter me. I don't know.
No,
We'll see.
Miles flatters you, but I want to see Justin Asada or Aaron Blake from Surviving Paradise send you a
Oh,
message. I'm obsessed
Justin
with them.
Posada. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. From Surviving Paradise. I was just watching that show actually.
I'm obsessed with
Who's
that
the other
show.
one you said?
Aaron Blake. So he was just he did. They were like Team Taj, the three of them.
Oh, Aaron Blake has like the light eyes. The
Yes.
right. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's shockingly nice because it's like a little bit like side eye, like light eyes, like what are we getting
Yeah, right.
into? And
Yeah.
but oh
Giving
my
off.
God, I stared at him and he was just so nice. I interviewed
Oh,
him before, so like
yeah.
I'm always like Aaron Blake single.
Oh
Like
my
every time I do
gosh.
like a podcast, I was
I
like,
love
what?
that. You're like the matchmaker of Netflix reality stars.
No, I am. And he was supposed to go on Michelle Brown's season of The Bachelorette, and then he ended up getting a girlfriend. So I'm like, you
Tea.
like he's like material. Yeah, tea
Yeah.
everybody. No, I'm like if anybody's in our chat, give a like. 'Cause that
Right.
yeah,
Oh
if
my gosh,
anyone's
that's
there.
funny. Also, I love the your reference to Surviving Paradise. I feel like that show is highly underrated and more people should have been talking about it. So good.
Love that. And can I just say that I would love to see you on that show. You would absolutely
Yeah.
crush it.
I I don't know if I would. Like living
The
outside is kind
elements.
of
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. But living inside, yeah, I would crush that for sure. In that mansion, oh my gosh, please get me in there.
So I want to talk about your strategy. And
Okay.
I do later want to get into like would you actually I'm just going to ask you now so I don't forget. Will you apply to shows like The Challenge, Big Brother? Like could we potentially see you on another network?
So logistically, I don't know how that works because I'm on Netflix now, and like so many of these like streaming
Competing
sites, and
networks? Yeah.
yeah, like it's hard to kind of do like the cross thing. So I don't know, but I'd love to do more of any of it. I mean, Big Brother's always been my dream. I've tried out for it so many times. I did not try out for anything else, including Circle, because I wanted to be on Big Brother so badly, and I knew if I did another network or another streaming site or anything, that I probably wouldn't be able to do Big Brother. So I held off for a long time of doing anything so I can get on Big Brother. Then when it didn't happen, I mean Circle, and I'm happy to be with Netflix now. I mean, I'm down for whatever Netflix would want to put me on. The challenge, I really don't think I could ever do the challenge. Like, I'm too afraid of heights, and they do some crazy stuff on there that I just don't know if I would ever be able to get myself to do. Like, I think I would go on there and just forfeit everything and be like, I can't do this. Like, I just want to do the social game.
Did you watch Special Forces where China was like, I'm not doing this. Like I'm not
Yeah.
going over this wall.
No, that would literally be me, and
Me
they'd be
too.
yelling at me, and I wouldn't even
Same.
care. Like,
And the
okay.
guy was like hanging by his like privates, like in like it like hurt, like you know what I mean? Like they're in that big like diaper harness, and he's
Yeah.
just like uncomfortable. Like, okay, China,
No.
are we going? Are we not?
That show is crazy. The one when they had to like jump into the ocean in the middle of the night. I remember like Jojo Siwa did it or something, and they had to like fall in a specific way. Like, what are we doing? Never in my life.
When JoJo carried Sandoval on her back like a pack of bricks, I died. How
I
can you come
died. That
back?
was
I died.
wild,
You,
wild.
you can't come
But
back from that.
I know.
Okay, so I want to talk about your strategy. We're getting back into you. I had to talk about Miles. I know it's the talk of the town. And I haven't seen you really talk to any girls yet either. So I'm like, we're gonna have girl time. Like I have to
Oh, yeah.
like I wanted to gossip.
Yeah, love it.
So we've already talked about how this season felt different than other seasons. I said I wanted to get to this.
Mhm.
And it felt like it was strategic right off the bat. And it seems like in other seasons there was this nicety and like not that everybody wasn't nice, everyone was, but there was
Mhm.
this like beating around the bush, like getting to know everyone, like ah like we're so excited, everybody. And this season, it was like kind of like everyone's a little like weary of each other and
Yeah.
very tactical. Like, did you notice that? How was it?
Yeah, I didn't see it while I was in there. It did still feel like a lot of people were being like nicey nice. I mean, obviously, I saw that. I felt like me, Kyle, and Miles had a lot of strategy, a lot more than I've seen before. And that kind of made me feel like, oh my gosh, are we like the best trio in Circle history? Like, we're like talking strategy. Who should we rate low? Who should we rate high? So I appreciated that. And that's why I really aligned with them because I felt like we aligned on like a personal connection. We all really liked each other, but then also strategically and in a game sense, we were all on the same page. But then I felt like when I talked to Lauren, I felt like it was all just personal connection, no strategy involved at all. I felt like with Olivia, I felt that too, but I think Brandon just did a really good job of um, kind of not showing how much he was gaming and how strategic he was being. And he just seemed like really, I mean, she at the time, Olivia,
Right.
just seemed very nice and like just someone you get along with. Um, Cassie, same thing. I feel like Cassie actually showed a little more strategy. Well, I thought at first I thought it was a little more strategy. Then I realized that she was kind of being more messy and like when she said the thing publicly, I feel like just publicly she would say a lot of things that everyone was thinking, but it's like, okay, don't say that. Like strategically, it's not good to out yourself on how you feel about people. So, yeah, so I don't know. I felt like there was a mix when I was playing it. I felt it was a mix of like, yeah, we're very strategic, but then we also have some like emotional players that are still trying to play the OG way. But then now in watching it, it's like, okay, no, everyone was kind of really in their gaming, which I love. Like, I'm so happy that I'm a part of a season that was just full of gamers because I mean the circle is very nicey nice all the time and I feel like doesn't get respected as a social strategy game as much as like a Big Brother, Survivor, Traders, any of those things. So I'm happy to be a part of something that now people can start seeing more of like the social strategy side of it.
I am obsessed with the strategy. And what I'm hoping is that this is the new direction that they're going in.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you could picture the circle sort of being like the survivor of our generation, just because we are so tech savvy, we are so like social media heavy. Like I could you see the show getting even more strategic heavy?
Yeah, I definitely can see there being more strategy involved, hopefully in the next few seasons. Season 7 was filmed right after us, so I don't know
Oh,
like if there's well, I mean, I know for sure there won't be any influence from our season into their gameplay, but I just hope that they continue to cast people that like understand these games and not just the circle or not just casting people that just want to be on a Netflix reality TV show, like people that are fans of in some sense these other games, Big Brother, Survivor, because I think that you have to take influence from those things in order to make this show more of a strategy show.
agreed.
Also, I think that there's room to improve some of the game a little bit so that it can become more strategic, like the end, the voting needs to change at the end. There needs to be some kind of jury or something, in my opinion, because then you can start to really see people make bigger moves that they feel like won't come back to bite them in the end. Because if you make a big move against someone who ends up being in the end with you, they're never going to vote you high. And then if you're like good the whole time, they're never going to vote you high. So then you end up getting people that make it to the end that are just kind of dragged along because other people want to vote them low. Like I don't know, it just gets confusing at the end, and I feel like that's what ruins a lot of where more strategy can be involved. So there's some like game things that I think can change about the circle to make it more strategic. But yeah, hopefully we start just like inching closer and closer to that. Also, I think that the games we did this season definitely helped because a lot of them were very shady, and I think you need more shady games in order to stir up the drama and get people to like go against each other and to have public alliances and then also public enemies. And I don't know, it just adds to a cooler dynamic of the show than just, oh my gosh, this um, really pretty girl is best friends with this like little nerd or something like it's,
Yes.
I feel like that's what they wanted it to be for so long, of just all these people making friends with people that they normally wouldn't. But I think you still get that, but you can still have some more gameplay involved with it.
Yes, you just sent me that. Absolutely sent me. That was just such a funny description. I know exactly what you mean, though. We got a chat, and it says Leah's handling this conversation like a queen. Love this conversation. So I love that. They're loving
Yay, so
us.
sweet.
Thank you very much. Um, okay, your strategy, your notes. Like, listen, these are how I prep for an episode. Your notes is like next level.
Oh
So,
my
what was the system, and did it help?
helped tremendously. Like that's my biggest advice for anyone going on the show. Take notes on every little thing. And not just notes about like, oh, this person's from Massachusetts. Like, no, take notes on conversations. I was writing down. So, okay, here's my system of notes, which by the way, they took all my notes and I'm so sad about it because I wish I could like look back at them, but I wrote everything down, so I guess they didn't want me to like have proof of everything that actually happened, which they showed it all, so I don't know. Anyways,
Got it.
so this was my system. I had different color pens, and every single color was for a different person in the circle. So like I remember I made Miles orange because I was like, oh, flame emoji, fuego, whatever. Kyle was red because when I first saw his profile, I was like, he's a walking red flag. So I made him red. Paul was green because it was my favorite color, and I thought I would really get along with Paul. I color coordinated every single person to. I put every person to a specific color. And then whenever I would have certain conversations or chats with people, I would write down word for word what they said, what I said, so that I would always be able to reference back and they would never be able to say like they said something they didn't or vice versa. Or I would be able to use those things in a different sense. Like with the Olivia thing, I went back in my notes when I painted the picture of Kyle and put the fake muscle. I was like, who can I frame this on? And then I looked back in my notes and Olivia had said hashtag fake in one of the chats. So I was like, okay, we're taking hashtag fake and putting it onto this painting. Like you can use all of those little things against people or to help yourself. So take note of every single conversation. Also, the conversations take so long. So after you send a message, there's about 10 minutes before you get a message back. So in that time, I'm like writing down everything that we're saying, and then yeah, you're able to reference back to it. So I took note on every little thing, every game we played. I wrote down what everyone else was saying. I also was able to figure out the ride or dies because of that too. Because in the game where we answered the questions about like, would you rather fight a bear or the 100 chickens or something like that, I wrote down all the questions and what I thought everyone would say, and then I was able to match up who I thought would have like the most answers that were the same. So I was in there. I was not bored 1 second in there because I was always doing something or working my brain in some way.
Okay, that was actually tea because I was curious how fast these conversations were happening. Like, you put a lot of intention into your messages anyways because you were playing a lot of strategy. Does it
Yeah.
take you 10 minutes to form a reply, or is there a delay? Like, what's going on?
It's a long delay. It does take a little bit of time. Like I wouldn't just like say something right away and send it. I would say something and then play around with like the hashtags or exactly what I say because you don't want the tone to be taken out of context. So I always like triple read the messages before like actually sending them. And then it like sometimes takes a second for them to type out exactly what you're saying or to find the emoji, and then I don't know, maybe it needs to like get approved or something like that. I really don't know, but it would just take a while. And even after you'd have your message formulated, it would just be sitting in the box for maybe like a minute or two before they press send. And then once they send it for like TV purposes, they have to get the other person reading it. They have to get you reading it again. They have to get the other person's response to what they're actually thinking. And then it's like, okay, what am I going to actually say? So all of that just takes so much time that it's not just like a bam, 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 back and forth. The only time it was back and forth like that was for the influencer chats because I think from some like legal perspective, because it's something that affects who goes home in the game, they have to allow us to say everything that we want so we can send messages as long as we want, and they can't stop us from talking or they can't like end the chat like from a producer standpoint. So in those conversations it was very just like back and forth, which was nice, but then it also did get overwhelming because you're used to the conversations taking such a long time that you have time to think about your responses. So when you're able to go back and forth, it's like, oh my gosh, wait, okay, I got to think about it, what should I say? And then I don't want the person to think I'm taking too long and I'm thinking too deeply into their message. So yeah, it's a little bit hard, but you kind of get used to it after the first like 2 days or so.
That would take me, I was about to say, I would have to get used to that because the waiting for someone to respond would spiral me. I'm definitely one of those people that's like delivered, 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 like when I send something that's intense.
And you know, it's so funny whenever in the beginning when we would have like group chats or something, because I never had a private chat with Steffi, but in group chats, Steffi would always take the longest to respond. And
Oh,
I thought it was because
beep boop.
they're doing chat GPT and having to like formulate the messages. And I was like, oh yeah, she's definitely a robot. There's no way it takes this long. So yeah, I shouldn't have been thinking so far into it, but I was, and it convinced me that she was a robot.
And then people are wondering, so when you're talking like that in
Yeah.
the chat, when you come back in like real life, are you like tempted to like text that way, like hashtag blessed?
Oh my gosh, when I came back, I was using hashtags more than I ever have in my life. Like everything was a hashtag, and I never used hashtags before this. I already use like a lot of emojis, but I feel like maybe I was even using even more. But yeah, also it was kind of overwhelming coming back and texting for some reason. Maybe because I had been texting so much in the circle that when I
Yes.
got back, I was like so over it. I could not text anymore.
Valid, valid. Like overstimulated. It's like too much, like too
Right.
much screen time
Yeah.
almost.
And we started like a circle group chat right when we got back, and every single message, every one of us was hashtagging something. It was like we were back and it was like circle open message. Like everything was hashtags.
Though, were you disappointed? So, like, obviously, you probably knew since you're a super fan that they were not really, you're not really like open message and it's not like dinging, but do you wish that it was like that?
I do, but it kind of was more than I thought because I'm a super fan of
Okay.
these things. I thought going in it was going to be like I say all this stuff and I don't even see it on the screen. But they actually kind of move it along as if it really is like on your phone and you're able to
Love it.
like as soon as you say send message, the message goes. You can see the text bubbles of people typing. Yeah, so all of that
Okay.
stuff is they make it kind of real, which I appreciate it.
Okay, no, I really appreciate that. I
Yeah,
really appreciate that.
I know
Okay.
it's cool.
I love the behind the scenes. So I and I heard someone say too in a behind the scenes somewhere that you can have up to 40 chats a day with people because you can have five, like this might have been from season one, but they were saying you get five chats with each person and they would have 40 chats a day and be trying to remember it. And I'm like, is
What?
that accurate?
Oh, that is not true anymore. If it was ever true, no. I had like maybe at max 4 conversations a day, and that was like a full day. Like, no, you cannot just talk to everyone or at any time that you want. It's all like you wake up and basically say, I mean, you're talking to the circle, but you're like, oh, good morning, circle. Oh, I'm so excited. Who do I want to talk to today? And then you kind of go down a list of people you would want to talk to and why. And then from there, you're able to start conversations if you're told you can, or you're just like sitting down eating pizza and then a conversation pops up that maybe you wanted to have but the other person's starting it. But no, definitely not 40 conversations a day. I wish I was trying to talk to people all the time, but no, you don't get all of the chats that you want. Four, I think, was four private conversations was the most I had in a day.
I'm dead. I'm gonna go comment cap on that
No,
video. No,
literally. I'm
literally.
like, what? I mean, maybe season one, but even then I don't see because like I said, it takes so long to have these conversations that I can't imagine that every single person is just able to talk to
Me
everyone
either.
they want in a
I
day.
thought that was nuts. That's why I had the note about your nuts because
Yeah.
not your nut. And then note about your notes
Yeah.
because I thought that that was nuts. That's what I was trying to say, that
Um,
you would be able to log 40 talks a day. Like I'm like, this is act we should hard bind this. This should be a book. Like this is
yeah.
actually crazy.
No, no, it was not that many in a day. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Okay, so before I go to the next topic, I have to ask. I interviewed Cassie and she didn't take like so she didn't really take that many notes
Yeah.
and she thought that you were going to be able to reference people's bios throughout the entire thing.
Yes.
What
Oh my
did you
God.
think about that?
That I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, me too. So the first day that I got in there, I was in my bed as I was going through all of the profiles, and I had gone through, I think, two of them already, or maybe three. And then I was like, wait, I need to take notes because it was my first day there, so I hadn't started my notes yet. But I was like, oh, wait, I need to take notes on all this. So I went and grabbed my book, came back to my bed, and I was like, can we go back to, I think it was Miles Kyle, and someone else that I had already seen their profiles. And I was like, can we go back to Miles so I can write down the notes? And they're like, no, once you've seen it, you've already seen it. And I was like, what? So I didn't even know. I didn't remember that Miles was an AI engineer. So with all the AI stuff that was going on, later on when Cassie sent something in the group about oh, even the AI engineer couldn't catch the AI or something like that. I was like, what is she talking about? And then the producers were like, Miles is an AI engineer. And I was like, I forgot because I didn't write notes on his profile because it had already passed. And yeah, you can't just go back whenever you want to people's profiles to see their stuff. So whatever you write down right when you see it, that's all you have. And then you're able to go to their profile. No, actually, not at all. You're never able to go back to their profiles. That's so interesting. Yeah, I forgot about that, but that is a huge part. I don't know why.
Okay, so that makes so much sense because first of all, I would definitely not realize and be just having so much fun. Like, woo! You just looked at all five of them. Okay, go back to number one. Let's deep digest this.
Right.
To
That's
then
what I
not be able
thought.
to. Like,
No. The
and
whole
then
time, even when you're just sitting there, like throughout the day for hours, you're just looking at the screen of everyone's like profile pictures. Like you're not able to do anything with the screen. Like it's just stuck there the whole time.
okay, now I want to know too, behind the scenes, let's just say you have a moment where you're just like really claustrophobic. You've been
Mhm.
staring at the screen, you're in your apartment, let me walk down the effing street or I'm gonna lose it. Like,
Yeah.
what is the only solution to go to the roof? Cassie got to smoke cigarettes. So like what was your vice? Like what were you doing?
So honestly, me personally, I love being inside the house. Like I can be in my apartment all day. So I wasn't feeling like I need to get outside, but you are able to go outside. Like every day, they're able to take you out there. There's like times when, I mean, you're always filming 24/7, but there's times when obviously like the crew and stuff needs to go to lunch, so you're not doing anything. And someone will come and bring you to, yeah, either the rooftop terrace or they even had like balconies in apartments that weren't being used for filming that you were able to go to. So there was some times where you're able to leave the apartment just to get fresh air and like be away from it all for a second. But I really didn't need it. Like there were some times where they're like, okay, let's take you outside. And I was like, no, I'm kind of good just here doing my puzzle. But yeah, you're able to. And then yeah, if you smoke, you're able to go outside for a certain amount of time every day to smoke. So that's kind of another little trick. If you want to get more
Smoke.
outside time, say that you smoke and
Pick up
then they'll take you
cigarettes. I'm
outside.
just
Yeah,
kidding. Not me like promoting it.
I
But
know.
low key I asked Cassie would I be able to bring weed and she said no. And I find
Yeah.
that absolutely devastating to know that you are not allowed to do that. So just throwing that out there. What was before I go into asking about Kyle and more about
Mhm.
Trace Fuego,
Yeah.
since you were a super fan, the chat wants to know like what was the biggest shock then of like actually being on the show?
Biggest shock. Hmm. I think the biggest shock probably was like how much was going on in the whole apartment building. Like, obviously, they have these 8 apartments or however many people are in the game at one time of the people actually filming, but there's so much happen. They use the whole apartment building as the set. So there's like a bunch of like props and stuff in one apartment, and then even where you do your interview is in like a separate apartment. So they're using all of these apartments for different things.
Wow.
So that was cool. And then also like going like traveling in and out of the apartments for the first time, and even when you're going to like different rooms and stuff, you're wearing like headphones and a mask so that you can't see or hear anything. So yeah, that stuff was cool. Kind of just like the moving around to the different places in the apartment building was cool. But yeah, just seeing that the whole entire apartment building is the set. Like they're using every single part of that building.
Do you wish you got to bring your dog? Like I'm thinking about Kyle right now. He had his dog.
Exactly. When I saw that Kyle had his dog, I was like, what the heck? I didn't know that was an option. I would have
And you're
brought mine
so
too.
small. Like, come here, little.
Yeah. No, yeah, I had no clue. I want to ask him, like, did they like offer that to him, or was he like, I'm not coming if I don't bring Deuce? Like, I want to know what the thing, like, how he got that to happen. That was crazy. I wish I could have brought my
I'm
dog.
like maybe ESA because Bruce or Deuce didn't really do much, you
Yeah.
know? Like he didn't really like move like get all hyper, but
Yeah, no. Yeah, he was a good dog to have in there.
yeah,
Honestly, I don't know. I think my dog would. Actually, no, my dog's pretty good. He's quiet. He doesn't do much, so
yeah, he's been fine.
yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask this because genuinely, on your opinion with Kyle, like going to the end, Kyle ultimately didn't end up voting you as number one.
Yeah, let's talk about
Let's talk about that.
that.
So, in your opinion, do you, and without like throwing shade or throwing him under the bus, but do you think that Kyle got a little too wrapped up and was potentially excited to see this like connection with Liv, or do you think it was the heart to heart? Because I think some people, and myself included, was a little unclear. Like, I don't know, like like sometimes people get wrapped up. Maybe Kyle liked Liv. Maybe Kyle wanted to see what Liv was like when they met in person, and then I don't know.
No, I actually think it was like strictly strategy that he did Olivia first. I don't think he thought Olivia would win. I didn't think so either. I was shocked by that.
Yeah.
So I think he felt like Olivia would probably be lower. I don't know why. I feel like we were all kind of, I mean, it's because Olivia did the exact strategy of what I wanted to do, where she was first influencer, very first influencer, flew under the radar, dropped tremendously, and I think that drop helped her in the middle of the game because even towards the end, once she got all the gifts and then became secret influencer, we still were looking at her as this person that is not going to be high in the ratings for some reason. And I think it's because she was able to just ride the middle for most of the game. And so she didn't have a big target, and we didn't feel like she'd be someone that would be able to win in the end because she had been so low for so long. So I think that helped her tremendously. And then going into it, Kyle felt like the best chance for him to win is to put me a little bit lower because he felt like I would win over him. So he wanted to drop me lower to give himself a better chance, and then put Liv one so that because he didn't think that Liv was going to get many high ratings. So I think it just really was strategy, and I respect the strategy. At that point, I had stopped playing strategy, and I was just like, you know what? If I don't win, I want Kyle to win because we've been working together this whole time, and I've seen him and what he's done behind the scenes. So I respected the gameplay of him, but yeah, he did not vote emotionally like I did.
Yes, unfortunately,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
but I
And
still
then
would have lost, so it's like okay, whatever.
I did like the numbers. I was so annoyed that you would have lost. And I just don't, I kind of am unclear.
Yeah.
How did Olivia, like, who rated Olivia so high? How did she win? What happened?
Lauren rated her high. Lauren rated her second, I think. Kyle rated her first. Jordan rated her. I don't know where Jordan rated her, but I think it was pretty high.
Okay, I think either first or second when I did my
Yeah,
calculations.
I'm the only person that rated her third. I think other than me, she got first or second from every single other person.
Got
Where
it.
Kyle got more low ratings, and then I obviously got the big dip with Jordan putting me last.
Right.
Lauren also put me third. Kyle putting me a little bit lower, and then Olivia's the only one that put me one. So I it just worked out for her because everyone else I think had more like skewed of like some people put them high, some people put them low, but everyone except for me put Olivia in one or two, I believe.
I'm shocked. So
Yeah.
were people voting for strategy as well? Do you think like everybody was like, well, Liv won't win this, so let me put Liv first? Or do you think everyone thought she deserved to win it?
No, I think there was a mix. I think that Jordan probably thought she deserved to win because of the secret influencer thing, possibly, but then also was voting strategically. I don't know. That's why I don't like the ending of the circle. It's so
Mm-hmm.
confusing of knowing, like, who's voting for strategy, who's going to vote emotion, and then, like, maybe there's a mix of both. I feel like I did a mix with, like, I put Kyle number one emotionally, but then I put Jordan second strategically because I knew no one else was going to put him high. So I think it's just such a, it's
Yes.
just up in the air what's going to end up happening at the end. So I can't really say for everyone why they put Olivia high,
Right.
but
Mm-hmm.
I will say that once Olivia came out and it was Brandon, I was like, oh, if this guy wins, he deserves it because he really got me. I had no idea. He played phenomenally in the sense of I would have never guessed that the person playing Olivia was not actually Olivia. Like he was so Olivia that it didn't make any sense to me. So I think he played more strategically than I realized. So I still respect the win.
Yes.
When I was voting, I hadn't seen all of that, and I felt like Olivia just played very emotionally and just like kind of got to the end. And however, so then I put Olivia third, but yeah, I think he still deserved it. But yeah, it's just crazy that ending vote could go any way every time.
100%. That needs to be more organized or even like let the viewers decide
Yes.
potentially. I don't know. Like
I
let us
think the
vote.
UK used to do, or actually, I don't know if the UK used to do that, but I know the UK one used to be like live, like it was happening in the moment. They didn't pre-record it and then air
Wow.
it like a year later. So I don't know. That could be kind of cool.
That could be fun too.
Yeah.
Um, Going to Jordan, he was
Mhm.
probably one of the most tactical, but he
Mhm.
was also like very ruthless in the
Yeah.
house. And he specifically gunned for Miles. And when I watch it, I'm critical of Jordan. So when I watch it, to me, it's not about whether or not Jordan could find alliances. He
Mhm.
could have. He could have. Miles was open to him. There was places that he fit in. It
Yeah.
really felt more to me like a control thing and wanting
Mhm.
to control the alliances and
Yeah.
control the group's opinion. What was your perception for why he came at Miles like so hard?
I think he wanted, like you said, to gain control of the game because he came in a spot where it's very shaky all the time. Like I think James is the only one who's ever won who wasn't an original cast person, like from the beginning. So I mean, it's hard to come in that spot, and then once you do, you kind of have to try to gain some kind of control on the game, and it's almost impossible to do. And yeah, I don't know why. I think it goes back to what I was saying before of like people weren't seeing me as the biggest threat. They were more seeing Miles as it. I do understand what I know in interviews he said that when he got in there, every chat he was having with people, everyone would always be like, I feel good about Miles. Like everyone feels good about Miles. So then it is a smart move to it is a smart move. I don't know. I like go back and forth. I think it's a smart move to have a clear target and let everyone know. I mean, I've always said in games like this, it's not bad when you make a public enemy out of someone because then everyone
True.
else knows that you're not going after them.
True.
But then it's hard because he knew that Miles was connected to so many people. So in him having a public enemy, making a public enemy out of Miles is weird because then he knows that everyone's going to be protecting Miles. So I don't know. I think it was just he made some like mistakes in that, but then I think his general idea of going in having a clear target was the right move. Like you do have to do that, and then once he had his mind set on Miles, I mean, you can't really like shift the target that much because then people are just going to feel like you're just going everywhere and doing too much. But I don't know. I don't know. It's hard. But he really went in for Miles, like really hard. Yeah.
He really did. And like specifically, I don't remember who he made this comment to, whether it was you or maybe it was Olivia, but like watching it back when Jordan suggests that Miles was flirting with him as like I don't know what sort of tactic, what was your thoughts on that?
So he had never told me that, which I'm shocked now in watching when we had our influencer chat and he said the thing about like, I'm about to blow your mind. I have some major tea on Miles. I felt like in watching it, why didn't he say that to me? Because that would have been more tea than anything. But yeah, so I never heard him say that in the actual game. I didn't know that that even happened until watching it now. And I don't know, I think it is a little bit weird. I'm not sure why he did that or went too far. I think he just felt like he had to throw anything at the wall and see what stuck. And he
Hmm.
felt like maybe that could be something. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's not
Yeah.
great.
Not great. Like I'm yeah, I won't spend too much time on it, but it felt odd. It felt like to like reference someone, speculate on someone's sexuality, and like what if he was and when I wasn't ready to have that conversation, or what if
Yeah.
you're just couldn't be further from the truth? Just even sort of giving him any narrative, I thought was weird. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're not sure how you felt about it because I was curious, like do you think that was like cool? Do you not? So thank you for sharing your insight on it and just like kind of
Yeah.
being confused because I get that.
I wish that he didn't do it, but
Right.
yeah, I
He
don't know.
did.
I feel like he was just doing anything he could, but I do
Yes.
think that was like not the correct way to go
Yeah.
about
Right. And if I ever interviewed him, I would definitely ask him why he did
it.
that as well and like his take on it. But it was worth mentioning because it was such a moment of like, let me rewind that. Did it
Yeah.
wait, like who's flirting with him? Like, wait a second, what's happening? What's
I
happening?
know. It's so wild. And it's crazy too that which I'm grateful for that no one really took the bait. Like no one was like, "Oh my gosh, this is major T, let me go spread that around." So, I'm happy that it didn't just like spread misinformation, but yeah, a little weird.
A little weird.
Yeah.
When we talk about Jordan and Autumn's game, they both came in hot. And it begs the question, do you even think it's fair to have people brought in halfway to the game? Like, what's your thoughts on that idea, anyways?
Yeah, it's so tricky because I think from like um a TV perspective, it shakes up, or it doesn't even really shake up the game, but it just like kind of freshens it up. I think especially for how Netflix releases them in batches of 4, that it gives you like something new to look forward to the next time. So I can see why they do it, but from a game sense, it's really tough. But I also think I don't think it's unfair. I don't know. I don't think it's unfair because it's almost impossible for them to win. So it's kind of
Mhm.
more unfair maybe to them than it is to everyone else. But yeah, it's a little weird. I don't think it's something that would ever change, but I don't know how they really could even change it without just removing it completely. Um, yeah, that one's hard. I don't know.
Did it surprise you that in all the other seasons they've either brought a celebrity player or brought someone back as someone else and they didn't this year?
I know. Yeah, this one, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it was really fresh in that sense of like they were just trying something completely new. Sometimes I did wish I was like, maybe someone is pretending to be someone else, but they're actually the Spice Girls or something, you know? Like that would, if I was playing with the Spice Girls, I literally would die. Can you imagine? You think that Joe
No.
Schmo is coming to meet you and they walk in and it's the Spice Girls? I would
We'll tell you which we
literally
want, what we really, really want. I would
yeah.
freak.
Oh my gosh, I would go crazy. So that would be wild. But no, I was happy that it was just like completely normal and fresh and like no big gimmicks. Besides the AI thing, there was nothing like too crazy that takes away from the game of it all. So yeah, I kind of liked that they didn't bring any of those little things in this season.
And touching briefly on the I heard you say in another podcast that you did that you really didn't like truly like you were floored to find out that Max was AI.
Yeah.
Do you think that they had Max reveal itself because everybody was truly unaware and Max probably could have won as like the robot?
Yeah. So I think so Miles actually did think it was Max and I think he was the only one that did, but he still didn't even want to block Max because no one else believed it was, so he didn't want to do something that was going to go against the group and then if Max wasn't
Yes.
AI then it would look bad on him. But yeah, other than Miles, I don't think anyone else would have ever caught on that it was Max. Also, I think the show already in the past has had a problem with like um, the catfish hunt. Everyone always just trying to figure out who the catfish is. And then once they brought the AI in and we didn't get it the first after the first round, it's like I don't think they wanted it to become the AI hunt because that ended up being all that we talked about. Every single conversation was who's the AI, who should we vote most human, like everything was about AI, AI, AI. I can't even say that 3 times. But everything was about AI. And I think it just would have become boring. So they probably were like, I don't know if it was a conscious decision or if they were always just going to stop AI after the first round. But I think they realized it was becoming too much of AI talk all the time that they were like, we need to just get rid of this and move on with the game. And then even later on, whenever I would try to bring up, and I think this happened with other people too, but whenever I would try to bring up Max and the AI thing, they'd be like, Max is so long ago, like let's talk about something new. And I think it's because they were like, we can't just keep talking about the AI the whole season, you know?
Got it. Okay. That's valid. They're like, it's done. The AI's
Right.
gone. Nobody, I'm
Yeah.
not talking about it now. Okay. We shouldn't even brought him. His little
Yeah.
Xbox. Like, I can't. It
Crazy.
that sent me to what it looked like because literally it looks like an Xbox. And I was like, what
No,
is this? Like, is this
I
real?
know.
Is it
Yeah.
talking? Like,
It's
who
crazy.
knows?
You know, fun fact, a little insider tea, they brought the box to the finale and they didn't air the part where he's asking us questions. Like the actual box is like, I'm Max and blah blah blah. Like he became the host for a second. Like just a small portion, but they did have Max asking us questions and they didn't air it.
Okay. So I wanted to get into the finale next. So
Yeah.
perfect. Let's segue. What did he ask?
He asked me first. He said something about like how does it feel to be the or no like have you always been this big of a manipulator or something like that, and
Oh,
I was like, oh my gosh,
Max!
you're exposing me. And yeah, it was something about being like manipulative or strategic.
Like puppet
uh,
master.
yeah, yeah. And then he also asked me like, "Are you actually gonna go on a date with Miles after this, or something like that?" So it was like pretty good, like tea kind of questions. They asked Kyle something about his wife, I think. I don't know. It was pretty good questions, and yeah, just never got shown.
Tea.
I know.
That's so crazy. Was
Yeah.
there any arguments at the finale? Was there anything like any confrontations that we missed? Because they gave us like nothing.
They gave absolutely
They
nothing.
gave
I'm so annoyed
nothing.
about it. We were filming that finale for like 3 hours, and there
Shut
was so
up.
much goodness in it. Like I was like, this is going to be one of the best finales. It's so good. We're talking about everything. There's a point where I tell Kyle that I'm the one who drew the picture of him and framed it on Olivia. That was a shocking revelation. He was shocked by that. It was a good conversation we have. When me and Jordan talk about the ride or die twist and the fact that that I left the chat, like people were shocked by that. There were so many good reveals that we had that weren't shown. No confrontation, and I was happy that
Yeah.
because I was scared because obviously I had made a lot of moves against these people, and I was like, people could take this the wrong way or really hate me because of it. But I feel like my cast has been really good, even now after watching it. About like realizing that it's just a game and none of it was personal. So no one really has any beef with each other, which is nice. But yeah, so there was no confrontation, but just like a lot of revelations that happened that weren't aired.
I'm so sad that we missed that because I do you wish that there was a live host though? Like I felt like they could have brought Michelle Buteau, who's doing the voiceover, to
Mhm.
host this, do a reunion. Were you hoping for that?
I actually liked it without a host. I felt like it made it less awkward and we were really able to just like talk to each other without feeling very I mean because it was already a little bit strange and we were out of our element because we came from being in these apartments with these built-in cameras and not having cameramen in front of our face and stuff and not having anyone around to then now we did that for 2 weeks. Then we go into this big like stage where there's these huge cameras following us around and like maybe 20 people behind the cameras, producers like watching us like live. So it already felt awkward in that sense. So I feel like having a host there would have made it even more stale and made us a little bit more like too proper. And I think that we had really good chats within each other. I just wish they would have edited it differently to make it look more natural, like it actually felt in the moment.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I liked not having a host kind of because we also did it differently in that we didn't have that round table dinner where that's where we meet each other and then we go into the finale set for the last
Oh
like
yeah.
5 minutes. We just met each other right there and then started talking. So I felt like it was fun. I liked that. I feel like a host is good if you're doing like a reunion after everyone's already watched the show, like a Real Housewives having Andy there or something. Like once you know everything, and then the host is able to ask questions about things that you've seen. But other than that, I think it was a very natural conversation that I liked having it without the host. Also, Michelle wasn't there because it was during the SAG strike, so because I know it's still not a scripted show, but for some reason she wasn't able to
Got
actually
it.
be there in person. But I'm glad that they still at least were able to have her do the voiceovers because
Voiceover.
I feel like that's a huge part of the show.
It is. That's a huge part. That makes sense. Thank you for explaining that. And it also
Yeah,
makes sense that it was 3 hours. Everyone talked, like it was a lot
yeah,
longer. Um,
it was so good.
so it
I
was
need them to
good.
do like an unedited version and just release it all.
100%. I would love to see an unedited version of the finale.
Yeah.
Um, and because they basically like were like, "Oh, Olivia's the winner, yay!" And then like nothing happened. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and Brandon didn't even get the call home and like all of that stuff
Exactly.
that's normal. Yeah, it was so weird. And like even in the moment it did feel weird. Like the whole finale felt great in the moment. Then the end he wins, confetti, yay, we're cheersing, hugging. Oh my gosh, so excited. And then cameras go down. We don't even take a picture. There's no phone call home. And then they're like, okay, the van's outside, everyone get in so you can get to the hotel. Like it happened so fast. It was wild, very
We're like,
rushed.
okay, season seven's about to do their finale, so get out of here, okay? Bye.
Right. They're like, great season. You guys are so good. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Good. Clean up crew.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, literally. Okay, so I'm almost finished. I just have a couple more questions. Do you have any regrets with how you played your game? We sort of touched on it earlier. Is there anything you change for next time?
No regrets, honestly. I feel like I did everything that I wanted to go in there and do. And honestly, my goal was to make it to the finale. And even going in there, I never felt like winning was an actual possibility. I started to feel like that once I kind of got my footing. But going into it, I was like, very slim chance you win. But at least if you can get to the finale, that would be incredible. So getting third place, I was very happy about. But no, I really wouldn't change anything because I listened to my gut the whole time. I followed my instincts. And I think it helped get me to where I was. I think if I were to do it again, I wouldn't change so much. I would just need to really figure out how to navigate falling to the middle in the middle of the game. Like I think it's great to start really high and be influencer as soon as you can be. But then it's so hard to fall into the middle without fully dropping to the bottom. So I think I would just like kind of fine tune that and figure out how I could do it without. I think it would be just more about having, well, now that the game, sorry, I'm like thinking this all out loud, but now that the game is kind of going into this more strategic era of the circle, I think that it's okay to be a little bit more open with your alliances about the strategy of how to vote and stuff. So I think I would use that more to my advantage. I wasn't really pushing certain things, like even within Trace Fuego, I think towards the end we started feeling comfortable of saying like, this is who we need to put number one, this is who we need to put last. I think I would feel more comfortable about being like, if I'm in another group of three, maybe saying like, okay, let's all put Miles number one and then put me number three.
Yes.
That way it allows me to fall down to the middle and put someone else as a target, even if they are my ally, because then at least they're protecting me, but I'm not the person that has to make the big decisions. So I think I'd just be more transparent within my alliances that I feel comfortable with about how we need to vote in order to get me to the middle, you know? I shouldn't
Wow.
even be saying this out loud
No,
because
that's good.
someone
That's
who watches
really
this
good.
and then ends up on the season with me, they're gonna know.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, she's playing it safe. She's playing the
Right.
middle." So like she's not gonna do this. She's gonna change it up again, everybody.
Yeah,
Like like come on. Don't act
I would
like you
never give away my secrets. Come on.
exactly. Like and you have to pay her to use them. So 100%.
Yeah.
Um what do you want people to know? Like, we got through the show, we did our episode. Is there anything that you haven't shared about yourself or the show that you would like to share?
Um, let's see. Not really. You know what? This is like my public statement on this because I'm so tired of people getting mad at me about it. The whole Miles, me putting Miles in number three for the secret influencer, like everyone needs to leave me alone about it because number one, I still would not have won the game, even if Miles was there at the end with me. If you do the numbers, there's no way that I win the game. Maybe I would have gotten number two, but I still wouldn't have won. Number two, I listened to my gut on that, and my gut was telling me that if Miles is a catfish and he becomes secret influencer, I'm he could possibly block me. Number three, okay, this is the one thing I haven't said anywhere yet, but I think about this all the time, is that even if I put Miles number one for secret influencer and Kyle number two, Miles still doesn't become secret influencer. Kyle becomes secret influencer. And if Kyle becomes secret influencer, he was going to block Lauren. He has told me this verbally, so I know for a fact he was going to block Lauren, not Jordan. So Jordan's still at the end putting me last, and I still don't win the game. Like, there's no chance I win the game no matter what. And also, like, Kyle put Olivia number one too, and he put Olivia number one at the end. So everyone needs to stop being mad at me about this whole.
Go be mad at Kyle. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Don't be mad at
But don't be mad
anybody.
at anyone. Like, we were all playing a game
Play a
strategically. Oh my
game.
gosh. Everyone's just so obsessed with Miles, so they're so sad that he left. And me too. As soon as I did it, I was like, oh, I just got out my biggest ally. That was so stupid of me. But like, in the game, it wasn't the worst thing I could have ever done.
No, absolutely not. You didn't hurt him. He's fine. He
Yeah.
survived just fine. I'm glad that you shared that with us. Everybody, leave her alone.
Right.
Don't ask any more questions about it. It's a game. Everybody's over it. Miles especially is over it. He didn't care when he came. Hello.
Exactly. Exactly.
He was like, "Oh, so you're drinking coffee?" Like that was his response to
Right.
that. Like
Yeah.
literally. Oh, okay. So you're having a little bev while I'm leaving?
Right.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, I know. Even at that point, I was more upset about the fact that he was gone than him. He was like, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to EP and LP, Elefante." I'm like, "Okay,
Which
good."
one did you go to?
We didn't go to either. We ended up going to this restaurant. It's called Isabel, I think. It's like
Uh-huh.
or Wisebell or whatever. Um, and it was so good. Loved it. But yeah, we didn't go to Elefante or
Elefante.
EP and LP. We still need to do that.
Yeah, you do. You got
Yeah,
that'll be a next time spot.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for making time for me today. We got to chat. We did it all up. Oh, perfect. I think that we answered everything that people wanted to know in the chat. I'm seeing like comments like great interview, great chat. I think I asked everything that anybody could possibly think of.
You did.
So I think we're good to sign off.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Seriously,
It
thank
was
you.
so much
You asked the
fun.
questions that people have not asked me yet, so this was a fun interview to do, honestly.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad we're getting more comments. They're saying that we're amazing. They're saying
Aw.
that we're great. I love it. I'm
Gosh. Also, I love all the other shows that you podcast about. So if ever you want to, please bring me back and let's talk about some of these things together. Like Summer House, Martha's Vineyard, I love, like all of it. Seriously, I'm a huge TV person.
Wait, okay, 2 minutes on Summer House Martha's Vineyard, everybody. 2 minutes, sorry. What did you think of the finale, and who do you think will be back
Wait,
next season?
has the finale happened? Wait, was the finale last night?
It was last night.
Oh, I need to watch it now. I always watch it the next day because I watch it on Peacock whenever it comes out. So I
Fair.
need to watch it and see. But the season has been really good. Like as a whole, I've been loving it. The drama is crazy. Like I'm obsessed. Brie, is her name Brie? The one with the dog?
Bria, yes.
Bria, love Bria. I think she
Love
is
Bria.
the perfect addition to the cast. Like, what would we do without her? I don't know. Bria and Simon, obsessed with them. Like, everything is just so funny. Amir's girlfriend, the way she's like trying to get in the drama and ask questions to Nick's girlfriend. I forgot. I'm so
Tasha,
bad at names.
yes.
But yeah, I mean, like such good TV this season. I
Good
love it.
TV. Natalie's a mess. I interviewed Amir, so plugging that, everybody interviewed Amir,
Ooh,
and we
I need
talked
to
about
listen to
Natalie. It was very tea.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's great. That was great. The way like she went up to what is
Tasia.
okay, she went up to Tasia as Tasia's next to Nick and she's like, I need to talk to you about something. Can't really tell you what it's about right now. I was like, girl, this is messy.
She pat her hair. I said, if this white girl doesn't stop patting her hair,
Oh my gosh,
this
I
is,
didn't
it was
notice
so
that.
ignorant. Oh, but she's like, hey,
Crazy.
Tasha. Like,
I would
don't,
die. I would
don't.
die.
A little
Yeah.
elbow. Like, if I was sitting there, like, excuse me.
Wait, is Amir and Natalie not together anymore? Are they not together?
They're still together.
Oh, they're
They're
still
still
together.
together. The big controversy was on my podcast. He referenced that he would like to come back for season three,
Oh, I
but
heard.
yeah,
Wow.
yes.
No, he
That was
wouldn't.
on my podcast, the
Oh my
tea,
gosh, crazy. That is
like
wild.
full circle.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
then two of them were talking about it like on stage recently or something, right?
Jasmine and Bria were
Yeah,
addressing that, and they're like, stand on business then don't come
yeah, yeah,
back.